Good day, this is Grigorij, a sewing machine technician. Today we will talk about the Jaguar sewing machine. We have this machine here, a modern one, the latest model Jaguar SJ-23, and we have this one, which was released in the 80s. So the Soviet Union used to buy those machines back then. They sold them for foreign currency. So this machine is about 40 years old. It's kind of like, we could say, what was considered a toy back in those days, a child's machine. But in reality, it's still being used today, and the machine doesn't break down, not without reason, unless, well, usually they bring it in for lubrication, because the machine is over 40 years old. And if you don't lubricate it for that many years, of course, the lubricants evaporate, and, well, it needs to be fixed. So there you go. So what can be said about that company? It was founded in '49, and we started collaborating right from the opening of Siuvimo Stilius. If I recall correctly, that was back around the year 2010, a time that feels like it was quite a while ago now. Ah, yeah, 2010. How time flies, yeah. So there you go. So, this machine of ours is fixed and we can set it aside. And this one is new. Why is it so special? Maybe we decided, actually I decided to make a video about that machine. This is the first machine in the world that has a servo motor, a stepper servo motor. This means that it can control speed very well. That machine can sew both slowly and quickly, and it has tremendous power when sewing slowly. You see, through those thick spots we sewed 30 layers of linen here, 30 layers of linen. I will show you very well how it sews. It goes through that thickest spot very nicely, very quietly and calmly. Well, what kind of machine is this? First of all, it says super jeans. So this one is intended, of course, not only for thin fabrics, but also for thick ones like denim alterations, sewing leather, because it has presser foot pressure adjustment. With the help of this, well, this regulator, we can increase or decrease the presser foot pressure. This is relevant when you are sewing some material from thin to thick fabric, like coat fabric, you need to decrease it. And if you are sewing leather, sometimes you need to increase the pressure, because when the foot rises as the needle goes up, the foot with normal pressure cannot hold it down, and the material starts jumping like this. So there you go. So what else? The machine has a fully metal body inside. We only have plastic trim here. A metal rod, that winder which winds, and it has an additional table. That means its general shape is different. We went ahead and ordered those additional tables for the office, because, as you can see, it really looks like this right now. Yeah, so this table, the additional one, yeah, it's a very good sturdy table. When you buy that machine, you just get it as a gift. We pull out this little table and put that one in. Or you can flip the machine over to see what's going on underneath. I see these metal frames sticking out so that it stands stably. And this foot here, please, do you see this foot is adjusted so it stands? You can twist it if the table is uneven, or, well, just readjust it if the machine wobbles, to set it to the position where it stands very stably. The machine has a horizontal shuttle system. This means the system is such that the bobbin is inserted from the top and it has a metal shuttle. The bobbins are made of plastic. Everything here appears to be exactly as it usually is. However, if you look closely, you will notice that the shuttle itself is actually made of metal, a very strong needle plate. We specifically requested that the needle plate be reinforced, ensuring you won't encounter any issues while sewing, even over a long period of time. And if you look closely right here, you'll see that we have also included a robust metal shuttle system designed to provide consistent, reliable performance. I actually like Jaguars. They make very high quality machines, and yes, we started collaborating back in 2009 or 2010. I'm pulling out an album here. This is the first visit. That was Mr. Matsumoto. And here I am, so fat, look fat and young. He had come to visit us for the very first time, marking the beginning of our professional relationship. Then we met again a few years later to solidify our partnership because the Japanese, you see, they simply don't believe in conducting business or trading until they have had the chance to physically sit down and meet face to face with the distributor. It is a deeply ingrained cultural practice that prioritizes personal trust and direct connection over everything else. Here I am. This was the second visit, and somewhere there was a third one, it seems. Yeah, well, this is Mr. Mizuno with his colleague. And here we are, probably at the Hill of Crosses. I wonder where we are, a similar Hill of Crosses. Never mind, but look how fat I was, my God, good grief. Oh my, oh my. And now old and skinny. Well, okay, so we are talking about the sewing machine after all. The shuttle system is metal. It sews both thin fabric and very, very thick fabric. So there you go, a very simple mechanism. You just undo this with the plate, remove a couple of screws, we unscrew it, and from time to time we can clean right here. If a lot of thread gets between the feed dogs, dust collects here, so we can clean right here between those feed dogs, oil it, and our machine will definitely serve us no less than that Minerva. If that Minerva lasted 40 years, then this one will last no less, probably even longer. By the way, out of those Minervas that I showed for repair that were brought in, not a single one has been thrown away yet. They all still work perfectly, even though from time to time it happens that people sew an incredible amount with them. It is just honestly so hard, really quite hard to describe exactly how much they sew with that simple little machine, day in and day out, year after year, without ever needing a repair. So there you go, that is the setup. And what exactly are we looking at here? Well, it is just a standard servo motor. Okay. The machine is just a machine. It's high quality. Everything is fine with it, but that drive, this is the first machine in the world that replaced a simple motor and installed a stepper servo motor. Maybe we'll go ahead and put this table on, and then I'll show you exactly how it works. I just need to make sure I bring the pedal over here first. So, let's continue our review. This is an electromechanical sewing machine with a stepper servo motor. We'll try sewing in a moment, and you'll see for yourself how it controls the speed. Meaning that motor is powerful 100 watts. It comes with this table as an additional accessory, yes. It has 22 operations. These are simple operations, and the knit stitches are switched right here. Stitch selection knob. If it's on knit S1, then the knit stitches work. Here, each step here has 2 operations. And if it's not set to S but to stitch density, then the other operations work. There is a separate zigzag width. This means a zigzag up to 6 millimeters. You can decrease or increase that zigzag while sewing any operation. Not just the zigzag, but you can decrease or increase the width of any operation. This machine is also special because it has full needle positioning. So, for example, when sewing straight, you can keep the needle in the middle, right in the middle of the presser foot. You can move it to the left, you can move it to the right. Usually, either that positioning is not there at all, or it is, but only to the left side and not to the right. Here you can position the needle anywhere. As I mentioned, there is the presser foot, the mechanism that presses the foot down, the reverse stitch, and the thread tension regulator. You increase it or decrease it underneath, but it should be set between 3 and 5 approximately, yes. There is an automatic needle threader. It's a lever like this. With its help, we thread the needle automatically. What next? Next, we still, well, how should I put it? There are similar machines. The ones that perform so many operations. Maybe they even have that regulator, maybe even positioning in some. Very rarely, in rare cases, there is that positioning, but no machine in the world has a step servo motor, meaning built into a household machine. So we take, for example, 2 layers of linen, now 4 layers of linen, and while holding the thread, we insert the needle into the fabric. By the way, you can press the pedal because it regulates the speed very slowly. And now you lower the presser foot, hold the thread at the beginning, and there we go, we start sewing. Look right here. Maybe I'll zoom in for you a bit. This is the minimum speed. Look. This video was crafted entirely by human hands and was not created with the help of artificial intelligence. And it doesn't matter, you see the needle starts sewing slowly, and to stop it, well, it's just impossible. See, I'm holding it with my finger, you see I can't stop it. It still moves at the same speed. And if we transition, for example, from those 4 layers to 12, 8 and 20, it practically won't feel a thing. Now I'm increasing the RPM. Here comes that thick part. Look, see, 12 layers, yes. On those 20, maybe I'll increase the speed a little bit. Well, let's try. If it's too hard for it, it will stop and blink. The light will start blinking. Well, it will tell you, it will give you a sign that you actually haven't lost your mind yet, right? Do you want to continue with that sewing? Okay, just give it more gas. That protection has to be there because, hey, the power is high, not much happened. The needle hit something, a finger got under the needle, for example, yeah. Still, if there is a big obstacle, it will stop for you. So there you go, 20 layers of linen at this speed, can you imagine? There, you always have both hands free. You can drive up to that thick spot. For example, a jeans hem. We were filming a jeans hem and we had to hold and pull the fabric a little bit. So it turns out that you are still able to sew. And your hands are free because, well, you don't need to use your hand to turn the machine stitch by stitch. So yeah, here we have, well, the maximum speed is also higher. So it's icky. And that's not the limit. We tried sewing. In the last video we were filming, I don't know if you watched it or not. We tried sewing 30 layers of fabric. Look, here are 3. Right here are 3 layers. Yes, 3. Yes. We are carefully folding those 3 pieces in half right now, which effectively doubles our count, giving us a total of 6. Now 18. 3 times 6 is 18, and another 12, 2 times 6. 12 on top. Right here are 30 layers of material. Imagine, of this thickness. We'll try to sew it now with this machine. With a smooth transition, we see not just 30 layers, but a shift from thin to thick, and then, in a continuous motion, from thick back to thin again. It is a subtle, yet essential change in the structure. Where is our thread? The thread ran out. Wait, the bottom thread hasn't run out. It was wound in pieces here, so here we go. I'll show you how to thread the bottom thread while I'm at it. Where is that end after all? There it is. You put the bobbin in counterclockwise. See, it rotates counterclockwise. And you hook it onto that little hook. The thread has to be hooked right here. Watch carefully now. I'll zoom in for you. We have a pretty good angle for filming right now. So you have to hook the thread onto this little hook here. It should look like this. See, hooked here. And during sewing, if the thread is inserted correctly, it will come off the bobbin from the left side. See, it's lying on the bobbin from the left side. That means the thread is inserted correctly if it lies like that. So let's start over again. I am terribly sorry, but it appears we have completely run out of thread for this project. And so, unfortunately, we are left with just this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and finally 6. 6, right? 6. Hold the thread, insert, lower, hold. 6, 12, 12. Wait, that's 18. Sorry, let me recalculate that. It's 3 times 6. So 6, 6, 6, and then we add another 12 on top of that. 12. Well, let's watch the process. The only machine in the world that can sew 30 layers of linen. We haven't lost our minds, we want to keep sewing. We'll increase the stitch tension. 30 layers of linen, leather. We're trying to sew leather. For leather, it would be good to get a foot like this. It's Teflon. It has this slippery surface. To change the foot, you need to press this lever here. There is a little lever here. I'm holding it with my finger. You press towards yourself and the foot drops. The thread is holding it, the foot drops. Now we put on the other foot, the so-called Teflon one. If you've lined it up, lower the foot down and it will lock into place. There, it's locked. And we continue sewing. Maybe I'll zoom out a bit, bring it back. Yes. We are sewing leather. 2 layers. Thick upholstery leather. Go ahead and insert it, then lower it down and hold. This is the minimum speed. Now we are increasing it, increasing. 2 layers, yeah? A stitch like that on the bottom, everything looks nice, no looping. 4 layers of leather. As I mentioned, look. See, now the needle has inserted into the material and now it's lifting back up. And look, the presser foot is moving. It's lifting the presser foot with it, so I should tighten the top the presser foot. There, we tighten this screw. You should tighten it up, well, just a little bit more right there. And now let us move on to the next step. Let's continue sewing. Four layers of leather with a regular needle, not one meant for leather. Actually, you could, of course, put in a leather presser foot needle. Well, the cutting point is larger. Will it go through 6? I don't know. Maybe it would go through 6 too. Actually, it goes through. With difficulty, but it goes through. With a regular needle. Well, there you go. As you can see, you can now effortlessly sew through 6 thick layers of leather. Well, I can also say that for thick fabric, obviously not that thick, not 30 layers of linen, but when sewing just thick fabric, well, any machine will sew that thicker stuff for you. 10 layers of linen is handled quite well by all machines, but it's harder to sew thin fabric. For example, it sometimes skips stitches on knit fabric. This kind of knit fabric, see, elastic, well, I know they use it to sew tracksuits for dancers who do competitive dancing. So now we're trying to sew that knit fabric without changing anything. We can put on a regular presser foot. No, not the one for leather. We can use the one for leather. It doesn't really matter. Let's put on a regular presser foot. If you don't have thin needles. Now, for example, I am sewing that knit fabric with a size 90 needle. The thing is, this needle is too thick. If it sews, it will be nothing short of a miracle. Actually, for knit fabric, the needle should be thinner and it should be specifically designed for knit fabric. This is just a regular one right now. Insert it, lower it, and make sure to hold the thread at the beginning. See, now we are sewing knit fabric with a regular thick needle. Well, for some reason it's not skipping stitches on a straight stitch. It looks perfect. There are no skipped stitches. Let's try switching to a zigzag stitch. We'll turn on the zigzag stitch here now. Maybe I'll reduce the density a little bit. Where is that zigzag? Here is our zigzag. Well, there are no skipped stitches when sewing with the zigzag either. So what's next? We haven't tried yet. Oh, there are those elastic stitches here. For example, if you want to sew knit fabric so that when you stretch it later, the seam doesn't break, you can turn on a regular stitch, sew straight, but turn it here to the letter S. The letter S is the elastic stitch. There's a bunch of that elastic stitch here. Well, it looks visually like it was sewn with thick threads. In reality, we can stretch it and the knit fabric doesn't tear. I think I have some chiffon left to take. I'll grab my scissors in a moment. My scissors and actually I'm not sure, maybe faster. We'll just take some chiffon or organza here. It's the same. Both materials are problematic. Well, obviously, we should reduce the stitch density to about 2. 2 and 2, maybe? We're sewing straight. The needle can stay in the middle. We'll turn off the zigzag so the needle will stay in the middle. And let's try sewing. Well, that's how it sews our organza. Everything is nice. We can reduce the press-a-foot pressure. That was unnecessary. We were sewing leather, so we needed more. So I think that's just about it for this machine for now. The table and the servo power. The servo motor, it's nothing particularly special. And relatively speaking, no, the price isn't that high. So there you go, you can actually get a really good machine. Lots of features and at a good price. If anyone, for example, thinks someone might need this video, send it to your friends or acquaintances. Hit like, we are doing this for you. And that's it for today. With you was Grigorij and UAB Siuvimo Stilius. Goodbye.